Good morning, Westside Church, and to each and every one that's out there on Facebook or YouTube or on our website listening to the Bible study for the day. I want you to get your Bibles, and we're going to go through the book of Proverbs. We're going to go a little bit outside of Proverbs, but we're going to go inside Proverbs because today we're going to be dealing with a broken spirit. You may not understand when I say broken spirit what it means. Man is made of two parts, emotional, and he has his body and he has his spirit. The spirit is what makes that's where his will, that's where his desire is at. And if you can break a person's will and desire, you break them. I want to give you a picture of a wild horse. They take a wild horse being ridden for the very first time. What they would do, that horse ain't gonna want to submit. Brokenness is good. Brokenness is good because God loves brokenness. That horse, that stallion don't want to be broken to the rider. He don't want to be told what to do. He enjoys being fed, and he enjoys his trough filled with water. He enjoys the ability to go in and out of corral, eating grass around, and then comes back in and rests. The problem comes in when you get ready to put a saddle onto the horse's back and a harness over his head. You're getting ready to tame him. You're getting ready to make him what you want him to be, make him more useful in life. A cowboy has more sense than just to toss a saddle on a wild animal back. For many days, he had to lead that animal around the pen to make it so familiar with the surroundings. And then when the saddle comes on from the tack room and is placed on the horse's back without a rider, that horse ain't gonna like that because he never had nothing on his back before. You never had anything on your back as you have now. You're dealing with stress and you're dealing with trials and tribulations. So after that, after many steps are performed, then he would begin to get ready to sit on the horse. Now that horse is gonna be buck. He's gonna buck. He's gonna jump around because he never had anything on his back. That 1,500 pounds of flesh is gonna jump around like crazy. And that cowboy is going to have to ride that horse. The same it is when God begins to work in your life. He doesn't immediately toss a saddle on your back or break you through the circumstances of your life. What you have to go through some pains in order to God to mold you to what you are, because you are an imperfect creature. So today our lessons are going to be dealing with the issues of the heart, and we're going to be dealing with having a broken spirit. So the question is, what is a broken spirit? A broken spirit is when someone's self-esteem is lost. A person's belief and joy in who they are, to lose their dream and the life that they had hoped for, and if they are emotionally beaten down to the point where they go from being who they were to someone who has lost all hope, that's devastating to the actual human being. A man can't take that when he has dreams and aspirations to be something else, and then he's told that he can't do it, he can't obtain it, he would never get it. That breaks his spirit, and that breaks his will, and it can break his drive. Listen to what Proverbs says. Proverbs 15:13 says, "A merry heart makes a cheerful outward appearance." That's what it does. A merry heart, you can see a person's face. They're smiling all the time. But the sadness of the heart, the spirit is broken, and then therefore the face is broken. People make faces. Sometimes I make faces, but it's not that I'm sad or anything. I'm just an ugly man. But let me move on. Introduction. Most people are motivated, either for good or bad, which they are. But most of their emotions, they follow their emotions more than their intellect. Not because emotions is stronger than the intellect, but because the motivation is easier of the two, just to run with your emotions. Most people run by the way they feel. You ask a child, "We take garbage." "I don't feel like taking the garbage out." So that means they don't want to take the garbage out. "Why don't you make up the room?" "Well, I don't feel like making it up. I cannot make it up later." We don't feel. We go by the way we feel. But intellect kicks in. "Well, maybe I should make up the bed now." Because if I make up the bed now, I don't have to worry about somebody punishing me later. That's intellect. We must start using our intellect than going with our first thoughts. Let me give you some instances of different characters in the Bible who had broken spirits so you can understand what I'm asking. In Numbers chapter 11, verse 10 to 15, Moses asked God and request God to take his life. He said, these people are too much for me. It's just too much. I'm doing too much to ministry and it's not going well. So I request to die, God. So what did God do? God gave him some help. He gave him his brother Aaron to assist him to take and alleviate the load. Then there was Job, who cursed the day that he was born. Job lost everything he had, 10 kids. The oldest boy had a party, house burned down, killing all 10 kids. He lost his kid. The enemy came and took his cattle. The enemy came and took his sheep. The enemy came and took everything that Job had. Job was rich, but now he's poor. He lost his kids, lost his family. On top of that, after he lost his finances, his wife even talked against his ministry. Job, look at everything that's happening with you. Why don't you just curse God and die? God ain't doing you right. Curse him and die. Just get it over with. Job said this. This is how he felt, broken spirit. He said, my breath is offensive to my wife. Job 19:17. But God blessed him later because he hung in there and he did not give up. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Then there was Hannah. Hannah grieved because she didn't have any kids. She wanted to give her husband kids. She had to have something. Now one was close, it wasn't working. So she went and she prayed to God. Her spirit was broken, prayed to God. I mean, she prayed hard. She prayed hard and God honored her tears and opened up her womb and gave her a son. Oh, bless God. And that was in 1 Samuel chapter 1, verse 1 through 16. Let's look at Jonah. Jonah was so angry with God that he wanted to die. In Jonah 4, 1 through 3, these three verses using the Message Bible, it says Jonah was furious and he lost his temper. He was furious, he was upset, he was irritated, he was frustrated. He lost it. Why did he lose it? Listen what he said in verse 2. He yelled at God. He said, God, I knew it. When I was back home, I knew this was going to happen. That's why I ran off to Tarsus. I knew you were sheer grace and mercy and not easily angered, rich in love, ready at the drop of a hat to turn your plans of punishment into a program of forgiveness. God, if you're not going to kill them, then I want you to kill me. I'm better off dead. His spirit had been broken. God changed his mind about killing the Assyrians or the Ninevites. He had changed his mind because they repented. And the prophet sat outside and he yelled at God. He had the tenacity to yell at God. Have you ever yelled at God because you didn't like the program that was going on? Let's give you another one who had a broken spirit, Tamara. After her brother Amnon raped her, she lived a desolated life, 2 Samuel chapter 13, 1 through 21. He told her that he loved her. David had told his daughter, go take care of Amnon, and he's sick right now, and bring him some food and help bring him back to nourish him, bring him back to health. She went over there and he fell in love with her. He wanted her so bad that he ended up taking her virginity. Took her virginity, and this is what he did. After he taken the virginity, which was a crime, because she said, go ask Daddy. Daddy will let me marry you. He didn't want to do that. He just wanted her at that moment. Passion, the heat of the moment. If you ever wanted something right away that you knew was wrong for you, and then he ended up telling her at the end after he took her virginity, get out of here now. I don't want to see you no more. But I thought you loved me. Get out of here. I don't want to see you no more. So her heart was broken. Now, when we say heart, we also mean mind, because in the Bible, heart and mind are interchangeable over 500 times. Heart, mind. Remember, this is supposed to pump blood, but this right here is your mind. Your mind. Let's move on. Naomi was filled with bitterness and pain after experiencing multiple hardships. Ruth 1, first chapter 1 and 1 through 20. Ruth and her husband moved because there was a famine in the land, and so they moved. And when they moved their two sons with them, and the two sons married. And the two sons, after they married, the father died. And then after the father died, the two sons died. What was devastating? You lose your main support, and then you lose the little sisters that you have through your sons. And now she got two daughters-in-laws following her around. And they said, we're going to stay with you to the end. She said, what, you going to wait till I remarry and have kids? She said, I'm not, you're not going to do that and wait till my boys grow up again? Then you're going to take them and marry them? No. Go home and find your own people. One went, one didn't. But she was grieved. She was heartbroken. Heartbroken is rough. Heartbroken is rough. And then the last one is Hagar. Genesis chapter 21, verse 15 to 26. Hagar was Sarah's handmaid. Sarah told her, after Sarah couldn't have kids, told Hagar, go in there and have some kids from my husband. She went in there and she had one. She got one named Ishmael. Then finally, a couple years later, 14 years later, then Sarah had a child. After Sarah had the child, the older one made fun, and she said, get him out of here. I don't want to see none of them around here. Get him right over Abraham. Abraham went to the Lord. The Lord told her to go ahead and get rid of him. And Hagar, the handmaid, who slept with Abraham intimately, he put her out. Gave her enough food to survive in the desert, and the food and water ran out. Now Hagar is in the desert. Her son is thirsty. What is she to do? Mother's got to take care of her son, so she dragged her son because he was weak and put him under the shade of a tree. And she went a little distance off, and she began to consult God. God, I need you. God, I need you. She was broken. Have you ever felt broken? What do you Proverbs say about being brokenhearted? Listen what it says. If you think, Proverbs 28:26, if you think you know it all, you are a fool. If you think you know everything and why things are happening, this and that, you're a fool. You don't know. Real survivors learn wisdom from others. Because when you are broken-hearted or your spirit is broken, you want to isolate yourself and be by yourself and be in a dark place. And notice what else it says. It says, keep thy heart with all diligence, for that's where life starts. That's Proverbs 4:23. Listen, the complexities of life are so great and the problems are so heavy that the more we face them, the more we get mixed up in our heads. Therefore, it is imperative to keep our hearts and emotions under control rather than being ruled by them. Ruled by your emotions. How many of you go past McDonald's, smell the food, your emotions, your body, your senses smell the food, and then something tells you on the inside your stomach or your head, I'm hungry, stop at McDonald's and get a burger. And then you go and drive into the lot and get a burger. So who's in control, you or your stomach, your emotions? We need to learn to control our emotions. What does a broken spirit does? Listen what it says. A cheerful heart brings a smile to your face, but a sad heart makes it hard to get through the day. That's Proverbs 15:13. Listen, if you can keep a smile on your face, keep a smile on your face. Because that's what it do. People can be exasperated, frustrated, irritated, and they want to give up. The heart is overly sorrowful, and the spirit is broken. If a person's spirit, will, desire, or vitality is broken, what positive things is he capable of doing? What can he do when his heart is broken? What can a broken-hearted man do? Listen what Proverbs 17:22 says. A merry heart doeth good like medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. The broken spirit makes you tired, makes you don't want to do anything. It zaps all of your energy. A man with a broken heart cannot help himself. Listen to what it says. You can't help yourself. Listen, a healthy spirit conquers adversity. But what can you do when the spirit is crushed? You can't do nothing. Others cannot help a man with a broken spirit. It's difficult to share because a man's most inner feelings are only known to himself and God, and sometimes he camouflages those feelings. We become chameleons. We become have the ability to camouflage how we feel. Listen what the Bible says. Proverbs 14:10. The person who shuns the bitter moments of friends will become an outsider at their celebrations. So when the celebrations, because you're shunning them, why are you shunning them? Because your spirit is broken. You want to be alone. You think you can get yourself out this rough. But the Bible says, once again, you're a fool if you think you can do it on your own. You're a fool. You don't know it all. Get the help. Seek help. When you get down, seek help. That's the main thing. Listen what the Bible says. Can you cheer him up? He's difficult to cheer up, although attempts to help often make things worse. Listen to what Proverbs 25:20 says. Singing light songs to the heavy-hearted is like pouring salt in their wounds. You're trying to cheer them up, and sometimes you're doing more harm to them. They're just polite and they won't throw you out. But most times that's what happens. Look at Job and his friends. They came to him and they telling him, I'm trying to cheer him up, telling him what he didn't do and all that stuff. Bildad, Sophia, and all the rest of them. They was just awesome. Awesome. They just were terrible. What can a broken spirit, what can break one's spirit? What can break a spirit? Proverbs 29 says one thing that can break a spirit is fear. The fear of man often opinion disables. The fear of what people think of you will disable you. And you won't be at your potential because you're worried about what people say about you. Stop worrying about what people say about you. Do what God has directed you to do. It will come out all right. You will come up on top. Listen, trusting in God protects your heart from that. Fear, what it does is cripple your confidence, your enthusiasm, and your optimism. That's what fear does. Our phobias of fear of failure, the fear of being rejection, or fear of being inadequacy. Have you ever wanted to talk to somebody that you like and you have fear about it? How did you feel? It's a terrible feeling. Fear will dominate you. Listen what else happens. What's they say about fear? In 3:21 of Proverbs, he said, my son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. The father in Proverbs was trying to teach his son about wisdom. He was telling him that basically in Proverbs 3, wisdom will give you life. And notice what he said in verse 2, verse 16, and verse 18. Now he teaches that in verse, listen what it says, wisdom will give him life. Remember, all wisdom is hidden in Christ. Colossians 2 and 3. But listen what Colossians 1:31, Colossians 1 and 30 says. That Christ is wisdom. So in 3, he's telling the son to keep wisdom. In verse 21, keep sound wisdom and discretion. Keep it. Wisdom will give you life. Wisdom will give you life. Wisdom will when you get down and out, you need wisdom around you when your spirit is broken. And only God can do that. And people who sent from God can encourage you. That's why it's not good for everybody to talk to everybody when somebody's hurt, because you can put them in a deeper depression. A guilty conscience sometimes can cause fear. That's what happens in Proverbs 28:1, a guilty conscience. Listen what it says. The wicked are edgy with guilt, ready to run off, even when no one's after them. They're ready to run when no one's after them. Honest people are relaxed, confident, and they're bold as lions. Wow. Listen to what that says. They're bold as lions when you're honest. It can result in great emotional distress, pandemonium, and produces one's own fantasy world. The fear of a man brings a snare. Your fear, when you're brokenhearted, your fear or whatever caused the fear can cause a snare, bring a snare. But whoever puts his trust in the Lord shall be safe. Fear, now after fear, you can get anxiety. Proverbs 12:25 says this: worry weighs us down. A cheerful word picks us up. Worry will weight you down. A cheerful word will pick you up. Constant worry produces a depressing anxiety that eats away at our spirit and consumes us. That's what happens in Psalms 37, verses 1 through 11. Worries and troubles weight us down until they can break us. Matthew 6:25 through 34. Listen to what it says in the Message Bible. If you decide for God, living a life of God worship, it follows that you don't fuss about what's on the table at mealtime or whether the clothes in your closet are in fashion. Don't fuss about what you eat in your clothes in the closet. There is far more to life than the food you put in your stomach, more to the outer appearance than the clothes you hang on your body. Then he goes verse 26, but look at the birds. They're free and unfeathered, not tied down to a job description, careless in the care of God. And you count more to him than the birds. You're more worthy than the birds. So listen, don't let anxiety get you down. Another thing after anxiety, listen to what it says now, depression. Depression, which is often a self-inflicted, then worsened by neglecting responsibilities, resentment, and sometimes self-pity. It is a downward spiral that ultimately can cause a person to break his own spirit. You don't want to do that. You don't want to break your own spirit. Listen. What can you do to put these pieces back together? What can you do to put these pieces back together? A, you need to start trusting God. Proverbs 16 and 3. Put God in charge of your work. Then what you plan will take place. Proverbs 23:26. Dear child, I want your full attention. Please do what I show you. That's what God said. Do what I show you. Just do what I tell you to do. How many times have God told us to do what he told us to do and we don't do it? Next thing is wisdom. My son, don't let wisdom depart from thine eyes, but keep a sound wisdom and discretion, so that thy life will be life unto the soul and grace to thy neck. Wisdom will become like a necklace on your neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. When thou liest down, thou wilt be not afraid. Yea, thou shalt lay down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fears, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. Why? Because the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. My goodness, God is on your side. God is on your side. Next you need to know is to have hope. Don't lose hope. Keep faith and keep your love. Proverbs 13:12-15. Listen what it says. Hope deferred maketh the heart sick. When you deferred hope and you think there's no hope in this pandemic and different things, you can come down with physical sickness as well. You become sick in your spirit and cast down, and that's not a good feeling. But when desire cometh, it is a tree of life. When desire comes, it's like a tree of life. Whosoever despises the word shall be destroyed. You that despise the word. Word despise means neglect. Don't bother with it. Leave it on the table. Let it collect dust. Don't read it. Don't pray. Don't open it up. Don't feel good. You just keep going. Just keep going. Listen, the Bible said, you whosoever despise the word shall be destroyed. You're going to be destroyed. But he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. I'm not talking about just in the afterlife, but it's talking about down here. You shall be rewarded. Do what God wants you to do, and you shall be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life to depart from the snares of death. Good understanding give favor, but the way of transgressors is hard. Keep a positive mental outlook. 17:22. A cheerful disposition is good for your health. Gloom and doom leave your bones dry. And the last thing I want you to do is learn to talk and listen to friends. Proverbs 27:9. Don't just make it a pity party. Just as lotion and fragrance give sensual delight, a sweet friendship refreshes the soul. You need people and people need you. Let's get our life together. God has given us the opportunity right now to consult him because this corona, they don't know what it is. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know. We can't get the testing. We can't get this. We can't get that. God is still there, and there's hope. There's hope. Yes, people are dying, but there is hope for you. You don't have to worry about that right now. Yes, preachers are dying. Church members are dying. People that probably, I don't know what the lifestyle may have been, but God has a time and a season for all things. And we're going to deal with that at another time. But I wanted to talk about this thing about the heart, and I want you to know that to be heartbroken is terrible. And watch how you try to talk to people and try to cheer them up. Make sure God send you and give you a word. Somebody you know ain't feeling good, looking in the corner in the dark with everything closed up, drapes closed, and they just sitting there, don't want to be bothered. Don't go in there trying to make them laugh and all that stuff, because that ain't going to work. What you need to do is ask God, what can you say to encourage that person to get them out of that? Get them out of that. God bless you. I thank you for your time. I know your time is valuable. I will start trying my best to condense this stuff, but I have so much that I want to say. So I hope this Bible class did you some good. And this Bible class was on having a broken heart. Thank you.